Hey guys, it's Nick from This here. With the recent release of the Dungeons & Dragons chapter in Dead by Daylight, I started thinking, could we see more non-horror licenses make their way into the game? I mean, D&D is more fantasy than horror, but it still fits surprisingly well with the game's tone. Vecna is a creepy and powerful killer, and surely behavior could keep this same charm with other licenses that aren't specifically horror. Of course, I don't expect DBD to become like Fortnite and start adding random-ass characters and celebrities, but as long as they can draw horror or survival elements from the license, I think it could be a fun way to expand this game's already huge roster of characters. If you think about it, this game isn't strictly horror anymore anyways. I mean, they have all kinds of goofy events, like when you can hide in a snowman. Iron Maiden and Slipknot are metal bands unrelated to horror. But again, behavior proved it could work, adding creepy skins for killers based on Eddie from Iron Maiden and including all of the Slipknot members' masks, which, to be fair, are pretty fucking creepy on their own anyway. We also got Naughty Bear as a cosmetic, being an homage to one of Behavior's earlier games. The anime Attack on Titan even got a set of cosmetics. God, those were ugly. I feel like cosmetics have a bit more wiggle room here than full chapters or paragraphs, as they're just fun costumes for your characters. It's interesting to note a player survey released by Behavior included a lot of licenses to choose from, some of these not being horror. So, I don't think it's totally off the table. I'll be going over some non-horror franchises that I think could work as chapters or paragraphs in DBD. Predator is a character I've talked about appearing in-game a few times now, and considering Alien is in the game, it only makes sense. Sure, the Predator movies are action sci-fi, but tell me you wouldn't be terrified of this thing hunting and stalking you. The Predator has a vast arsenal of high-tech weaponry that would make him a fun and fitting killer in-game. Plasma cannon, nets, traps, cloaking device, arm blades, the list goes on. Behavior could dedicate a full chapter to go with it, the map could be based on a jungle, and the survivor would be none other than Dutch Schaefer. I think Predator is a license that will inevitably come to DBD. Speaking of Arnie, Terminator is another franchise that isn't exactly horror, but I think could work in-game. Same premise as Predator. A robot from the future with plasma guns trying to kill you sounds terrifying, and I'd love to see some survivors getting terminated. Behavior could make Terminator another ranged killer, or nerf him like they did with Nemesis to just fists. A map based on Judgment Day would be so epic, and Sarah Connor would make for an excellent survivor. I see this having a decent chance at happening someday. Lara Croft is a character I've seen requested as a survivor quite a bit now, and I can see it. The Tomb Raider games have some pretty crazy shit going on in them, and Laura has faced tons of supernatural beings trying to kill her. She'd be right at home in the entity's realm. I could see her working perfectly as a survivor paragraph, and with the upcoming paragraph being a licensed survivor, it's possible she could come sooner than expected. Call of Duty even added Lara Croft, which was a surprise, so I can see her making her way to DBD eventually. I dedicated a full video to the idea of Mortal Kombat and Dead by Daylight crossing over, but in short, I think certain Mortal Kombat characters like Melina or Shao Kahn would fit right in at home with the other killers, as Melina is a bloodthirsty monster and Shao Kahn is an intimidating giant. MK would probably be best as a paragraph, with a killer and maybe a tournament map. Seeing characters like Johnny Cage run away and hide from killers doesn't really fit the agenda for fighting game characters. I'll always hold out hope to see two of my favorite game franchises collab, as I'd love to see a horror approach to some of Mortal Kombat's fighters. I've never watched Lord of the Rings, so the limited knowledge I do have on the franchise is from the Shadow of Mordor games. I could see the Nazgul or Sauron working as killers, but other than that, I don't know enough about the lore to speculate. Lord of the Rings is a very popular franchise that could draw new players in, and with the recent addition of D&D, it proves fantasy isn't out of the realm of possibilities. Weirdly enough, Scooby-Doo is a license that was heavily requested from the player survey, and while, yeah, that does sound ridiculous, I don't think it's entirely out of the picture. The notorious Velma show took a very adult approach to Scooby-Doo, being more of a raunchy, adult murder mystery show than the usual family-friendly mystery antics. I don't expect Scooby to run around as a killer ripping survivors' throats out or anything, but the live-action movies proved characters like Shaggy and Velma can be properly translated to a more realistic look. I gotta admit, it would be iconic if Behavior pulled this off. Who wouldn't want to run around as Shaggy in DBD? The main issue with this is that it would be a drastic shift in tone from everything else in game, as Scooby-Doo is far from scary. It would kind of be hard to take Shaggy in the game seriously, so I don't find it very likely, but never say never. Maybe as cosmetics? Overall, I think it's pretty likely that Dead by Daylight will expand and include some more non-horror licenses. They've proved they can make it work, do the original franchise justice, as well as make it fit stylistically. Predator and Terminator are must-have killers, and Lara Croft would be a badass woman who deserves a spot. What do you think? Would you like to see more content like this, or do you think Behavior should stick strictly to horror chapters? Let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, this has been Necfamous. See you later.